scaling, okay? We've gone through how to launch ad sets, we've gone through how to measure ad sets, how to act on data, how to even constrain ad sets using the data. And now what you need to know is how to make the most of those winning ad sets. So obviously what you want to do is scale them up. And for me, for AutoBid at least, there are three main scaling methods that I try to do. So that's what I'm going to cover in this section. First of all, I should say there is another very obvious way of scaling, and that is moving from AutoBid to manual bid. However, I'm not going to talk about manual bid in this section. So these three methods that I'm going to cover in this section are all to do with auto bids. So first one is budget increase method. And my personal opinion on this is that it's very easy, very straightforward, and most people seem to get success with this one. And it's probably the one I'd recommend you try first. It does, however, take longer than others. So in the beginning, you're going to need some ad sets at low budgets, and for me that's usually a £5 a day daily budget, not a lifetime budget. And obviously you're going to require them to be profitable. There's no point scaling a losing ad set, because generally if it's unprofitable at £5 a day, it's going to be unprofitable at a larger amount per day. That's what I find from my own experience. You can by all means test and come back to me and let me know if you find otherwise, but for me anyway, that is what tends to happen. If it's unprofitable at a low budget, I don't see why it would be profitable at a high budget. I've tested it and the results agree with my opinion. So before scaling, obviously just kill all the ad sets that don't generate a sale after hitting your break-even cost per purchase point. In other words, kill all your unprofitable ad sets. And if ad sets are profitable, you can either leave them as is or you can consider beginning to try to scale them. The reason I say kill all your losing ad sets is because you don't want your mind to be all over the place with Facebook ads. I've had it before, and I've had it actually while doing this course, when you have so many different ad sets going on, so much to look at and manage, that sometimes it can get too much. So it's important that you sort of laser focus on what's working. So just get rid of the ad sets that are unprofitable. Don't lose any sleep over them and focus on what's working. So here are some guidelines. Now, I have to stress, these aren't rules. You don't have to stick to this by all means. They're just guidelines. They're just what other people and myself and people I've spoken to and worked with in the past have suggested and said about this method. You can do whatever you like, okay? You don't have to copy any of these three guidelines at all. I have to stress that. So first one, some people say to wait at least 3 days, even if an ad set is profitable, before scaling its budget. So let's say you're running an ad set at £5 a day, you get a sale and you make a £20 profit in the first day or something like that. People say leave that running, don't scale it yet, let it run for 3 days and then you can scale. Some people say wait for at least 3 sales. So maybe it's profitable in the first day, you spend that £5, you make that £20 profit. But maybe it takes a week to make 3 sales. People say wait for at least 3 sales. Some people say as soon as it's profitable, you can begin upping the budget straight away. Right that second, right that hour, right that day, or the next day. So you spend that £5, let's say on the first day again, you make £20 profit. Some people say, that's a profitable ad set, let's start upping the budget now. So as you can see, these three all contradict one another. So as I said, these aren't rules, they're probably not even guidelines, I just couldn't think of a better word. This is just what people say in Facebook groups. So much different noise being thrown about, which is why it's incredibly hard to create a Facebook ads course for people in e-commerce. And I know that people are asking me for methods and guarantees. There's no such thing as a guarantee, you just have to test. And I think this slide is testament to that. All these three different guidelines they may work or they may not work for you. There's no, I don't know if there's any science behind any of these, just what I hear and what I used to get told and what people still get told nowadays. But basically, I'm just trying to explain that there is no right or wrong with this. You just have to test. Everything just comes down to testing. So how to do it? Simple. Find the ad set you want to scale and increase its daily budget by 20 to 25%. Some people say increase it by £5, some people say by a percentage. Personally, I do the latter. I can't say whether it's better or worse than doing it by £5 a day, but personally, I go with 20 to 25% per day. Sorry, not per day, but I personally go with 20 to 25% increases when I am increasing a daily budget. So £5 becomes £6 because 20% of 5 is 1. £6 becomes £7.20. £7.20 becomes £8.64, etc., 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 and it just keeps going up in increments every time you increase it by that set percentage that you choose yourself. Okay. Again, I have to stress this 20 to 25% budget is just a suggestion. You can increase it by 10, you can increase it by 5, you can increase it by 50 if you want. But I personally increase by 20. And I like to up the budget every few days. But again, I don't keep strict rules about this. I'm very flexible with it. If I've got an ad set that is really, really profitable, great return on ad spend, then maybe I'll increase its budget every day. In other places, maybe I'll increase every 3 days, maybe every 5 days. It's completely up to you. And here's some important things to look out for. And this is found all across Facebook advertisers, I would say. Your cost per purchase may well begin to increase as you increase your daily budget. And this is common with auto bid scaling. It happens to me all the time. And if your cost per purchase increases too much, it gets too high and you're not happy with it, you need to start slowly decreasing your daily budget back down, again by that 20 to 25% or by that £5 or by that whatever increment you had decided. Okay? And hopefully as you decrease that daily budget back down, the CPP comes back down and you eventually find a sweet spot. Method number 2 is the duplication method, as I like to call it. My personal opinion is I try this often, but with very, very mixed results. So in the beginning, again, you obviously need profitable ad sets with low budgets to begin with. There's no point scaling losing or close to losing ad sets because, as I said, they're not likely to improve. Guidelines, same as last time pretty much, in that there are so many differing opinions and ideas on this. Some people say wait 3 days. Some people wait a number of sales. Some people say you need a cost per purchase that leaves a certain minimum profit margin if you're going to go with the duplication method. And some people say if it's profitable, just do it. How to do it? Select the winning ad set that you want to scale, that profitable ad set with a good margin that you want to scale. Click duplicate. So instead of clicking edit or instead of clicking the budget on the ad set, you're going to duplicate this ad set. While editing this duplicate in the ad set settings, don't change anything other than the budget. Go to the budget and change it to something larger but still within your advertising budget. Don't risk losing money you can't risk losing. So for example, a £5 ad set can be duplicated to something larger, so £10 or £25 or even £40, £50, £100 if you want. I've tried it, and as I said, I get very differing results depending on what budgets I scale to. And again, bigger budgets have worked for some ad sets. Scaling and duplicating to smaller budgets worked better for other ad sets where, for example, I'll duplicate a £5 ad set to £25 and it won't work. I'll duplicate it to £50 and it will work. In another campaign, I might try the same, but this time the £50 one doesn't work and the £25 does work. So it's worth testing different budgets. There is a software for this called Companion Labs, or a service rather, but I don't use it. For me, anything above £20 on AutoBid usually doesn't work. And here's what to look out for. Unlike with the previous method, the CPP on your original should not increase. And that is obviously straightforward. The reason why is because you haven't changed it, you've just duplicated it. You haven't actually edited or made any changes to that original profitable ad set, so it should remain profitable around the same CPP. Obviously the CPP is going to be up and down each day, but you know what I'm saying. Also, unlike the previous, the CPP on the duplicate ad set won't change incrementally. It's going to be either good or bad. It's just like when you start a brand new ad set. So you'll start a new ad set, you'll see in my case studies section actually, at the end of the course, but basically you'll start a new ad set and you'll know whether this is going to be profitable or whether it's unprofitable, and you know that by the CPP. If it's above your break even, then obviously it's bad. If it's below your break even, then that's good. But what I mean is, compared to the previous budget increase method where you're increasing your budget incrementally every few days, your CPP is likely to change incrementally with your daily budget. Whereas this time you are just taking a leap from £5 to £25 in a new ad set. So this CPP, you aren't going to know this CPP in this new £25 ad set until you make a purchase through that ad set. Third and finally, we've got horizontal scaling. Now, I could go really in depth on this and talk about different ways of horizontal scaling, but instead I've just made one nice little slide to cover the bases. So what you would do is duplicate a winning ad set to a new area. And here are just a couple of examples. The first one, a US-based ad set, duplicated, but change the country, change it to Canada, try Canada, change it to the UK. Or you could, or for example, an ad set targeting Australia, UK, US, Canada, duplicate it to worldwide, see what happens. Perhaps you're duplicating to new age ranges. You have a profitable ad set hitting the 18 to 24 age range. So you duplicate it, and in this new duplicate settings, in the ad set settings, you change the age range to 25 to 34 and test this new age range. Obviously you do keep the original running because it's profitable. Or maybe you try new devices. Maybe you're running desktop only ad sets, a campaign that just has desktop only ad sets in and they're all profitable. So you could potentially duplicate all of these to iPhone only ad sets or even Android only ad sets. And as I said, you just keep the originals running, don't edit them, don't stop running them if they're profitable. Just duplicate them and change the settings in the duplicate. Things to note, obviously this is only going to work if your targeting isn't too broad. If you're targeting worldwide, all genders, 13 to 54 plus, all devices, all placements, then on the surface you don't really have any new ground to test because you're running an ad set to literally everyone and everything. Or do you? If you check the breakdown, using the breakdown tab, of the country, the age, the gender, the placement, the device, region, and see where the budget has been spent, you might find that actually, although this ad set is running to all devices, for example, the majority, 80% of the budget has been spent on iPhone, 15% has been spent on Android, only 5% has been spent on desktop, in which case you would duplicate this ad set to run only on desktop with this duplicate. So you keep the original running to all devices and the duplicate you'd run to just desktop, because that way you know with 100% certainty where your budget is going to be spent with this new ad set, and it's going to be spent on just desktop because that is what you've put in the settings for this duplicate. And then you can see if perhaps desktop is going to work. So basically, to summarize, what you would do is just duplicate to things that the budget has neglected so far. So in the example I just spoke about, it would be desktop because it only used 5% of the budget. And that is the end of the section on scaling. I haven't provided a practical coverage of this just because at the moment I'm working on the case studies, and you'll probably see me trying all sorts of different scaling methods within the case studies anyway. so there's not really any point covering it here as an over-the-shoulder view. So this is my sort of playbook for my advertising for e-commerce. I'll go through it. It's pretty straightforward, and I also have my best ad creatives for e-commerce. But my testing and scaling playbook is: number one, obviously install your Facebook pixel and check it's working. 2, use WC, website conversion ads, to get sales, and run DPA ads as a separate campaign, a dynamic product catalog sales ads campaign, to past views, website visitors, and add to carts in the background. Make sure it's a separate campaign optimized for purchases. Whenever you're running WC ads or PPE ads or any sort of ads that are going to lead to traffic going to your website, it's really important that you also run alongside it these DPA campaigns. So that's what I'm stressing in point 2. Number 3, optimize the WCs for add to basket or purchase with a 1-day conversion window. Number 4, run multiple small budget ad sets to test audiences and creatives. Start with the big 4 or a mix, one of the big 4 or a mixture of the big 4 or all of the big 4, and you can scale out internationally later. What you need to focus on now is interests. Make sure you're using stacked interest targeting to laser focus your audience. Run it for 3 days minimum to let it optimize, but obviously that is dependent on margins. If you can run it for longer, then do so if you wish. 5, kill losing ad sets. 6, use Facebook breakdowns as I've shown you and Google Analytics to understand who's responding best to the ads and who to spend more of your budget on constraining future ad sets. Number 7, scale winning ad sets by any method of your choice. For me personally, it's the budget increase method at the moment. Number 8, create LAAs from view contents, add to carts, purchases. Try out a couple of the more advanced custom audiences and lookalike audiences I've shown you. Also try the top 25% website visitors, lookalike audiences from them. Preferably, the custom audience is going to have 1,000 people in it. The source audience needs to have 1,000 people in it. At least 100, but preferably 1,000. The more people in the custom audience, the source audience, usually the better the lookalike audiences perform because there's more data to go with. Number 9, test other lookalikes such as email signups, repeat customers, power purchases, etc. Now, as we reach the end of the course, I just want to say a massive thank you for joining me on this learning experience and congratulations on sticking with it this far. I know it's been a long and in-depth course, and I hope that you've learned a lot of new knowledge and skills that you can apply in the real world. There's one thing that I ask, and that is that before you finish the course, please do leave me a review. I want to know what you thought about the course, and I'm always looking to improve. If you've enjoyed it, do let me know. I really, really appreciate the feedback. So in this video, we're just going to have a look at the skills and knowledge that you've learned and what you can now do. So you can set up Facebook pages and ad manager accounts, and you can use any of the multiple Facebook campaign options, and you understand the marketing objectives behind each of these. You can edit ad sets to extreme detail, and you can go incredibly in depth with these, and in fact more so than many businesses using Facebook ads today. If you think back to the start of the course where I provided those insanely crazy stats about how few people are using in-depth location targeting and even interest targeting. Now you should be able to do this incredibly easily now, and what's more, you know how to use the Audience Insights tool to make this even more effective. You know how to upload and use videos, photos, carousels, and Facebook-made slideshows. You've also been given some resources to create these yourself. As I said, you can use the Audience Insights tool to get a really clear picture of your target audience, and you even know how to use it to find new ideas for targeting and ad copy and creative. You understand some amazing examples of both Facebook and Instagram creatives, and you appreciate the subtleties and the differences of advertising on Instagram compared to Facebook. You can create awesome images and videos for use in your campaigns, and I've also provided those of you using Photoshop with some easy to use setups and grids for that 20% rule to look out for. You know some winning industry strategies for improving your advertising and making them incredibly professional. And you understand the idea of pattern interruption, and you even now know why the Simpsons are yellow. And I bet you didn't think you'd be learning that at the start of this course. You can use AIDA, PAS, and other winning ad copy styles and formats to engage and persuade the target audience to take action. You can use some cheeky reverse engineering to check out competitors' targeting and why you personally have been targeted by ads shown on your Facebook newsfeed. You can turn being targeted by ads on Facebook around from being a pain into a learning opportunity, and it may be a very profitable one. You can understand, install, and check the Facebook pixel is working correctly on Shopify. You can use the Facebook pixel in advertising campaigns. And you can build and use custom audiences using all sorts of different sources and settings, such as the purchase power audience. And you can build and use lookalikes from these custom audiences and pages, and you understand their power and significance in terms of huge return on ad spend. This is something that not enough advertisers are doing. You can measure and analyze your advertising performance. You can set up custom reporting columns, and you can analyze profitability of e-commerce campaigns. You can understand and apply breakdowns for further data analysis, and you can really drill deep into what is working for your campaigns. Then you can optimize the budget to get the more out of your money. Finally, you can understand conversion windows, what they are, how they work, and specifically how they work on Facebook and how to change them. You know how to get cheaper CPCs in the USA and top European countries, and additionally, you know some cheap countries to advertise to. You understand the importance of split testing, and you can run your own split tests with your own campaigns. You've also been provided a huge list of potential split tests to run. You know of 3 widely used scaling methods, and will be able to apply those in your own campaigns. And you've also heard about how I personally run my Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns for e-commerce. So as you can see, you are now very well equipped with all of the knowledge and skills required to make your campaigns extremely profitable. So where do you go from here? We'll find out in the next video. Really long and in-depth course on Facebook ads. You probably begin to think, okay, where do I go from here? What can I do now? How do I apply this knowledge to the real world? So here are a few ideas. If you have a business, an existing business, physical or digital, you can start running Facebook and Instagram ad campaigns for your business to drive more profits, more customers. You could start and build a niche website and use Facebook and Instagram ads to drive traffic to that website and begin to monetize it in the future. You could start an email marketing business and collect leads, and then follow up with those leads with automated emails, offering deals, perhaps affiliate programs and things like that. You could build Facebook and Instagram fan pages and become a social media influencer and charge for people to have posts put out from your pages. You could sign up to ClickBank or JVZoo and promote products with affiliate systems and earn commission. However, I should note, I think there are a lot of websites like ClickBank that Facebook prohibits the advertisement of. Penultimately, you could sell leads to local businesses. You could run ads, CPL ads, cost per lead ads, lead generation ads, email sign-up campaigns, and you could then sell these leads to local businesses or even digital businesses. This, in fact, is the business model of MJ DeMarco, leading author, who is the author of The Millionaire Fastlane. I'd check it out if you haven't read it before. And finally, my personal preference, because this is what I do with Facebook ads, I build Shopify dropshipping stores and build passive income systems by generating traffic through Facebook, Instagram, and AdWords, and outsourcing the menial tasks such as customer service and order fulfillment. If this final idea, this Shopify dropshipping idea, is of interest to you, check out the bonus materials after this section. So just a quick note on the case studies that I'm going to be adding to this course. I am going to be adding these one at a time. I'm not going to make them all and then film them and then upload them all as a bunch, because that will take a very, very long time. These case studies will have a large focus on e-commerce, particularly Shopify dropshipping and print-on-demand e-commerce websites and brands. And also, at the time you enroll in this course, it may be the case that I haven't finished any of the case studies yet. There may not be any uploaded, but do come and check back from time to time. After this section is where you'll find the case studies sections. They may not be uploaded at the moment, but hopefully in the near future you'll have your first one ready to watch.